Small business owners have to be pretty resourceful and flexible, right? Things are constantly changing in business and in technology. And a lot of times we're looking to our small business owners to really lead that innovation. So that's one reason we are seeing a lot of changes in the world of accounting software. Now, I've heard plenty of frustrations from small business owners over the years, frustrated that these accounting tools, the software, it keeps changing and the prices keep going up, right? And they're not wrong. Technology is changing a lot, and yes, we are seeing those prices for software and apps going up all the time. Now, some of these changes really are happening because of a demand from our small business owners. And I'll show you what I mean here, and then I'll also give you some tips for how you can work towards modernizing your accounting system. So, when we think in terms of traditional accounting, we are thinking about paper trails. So, think lots of mail, paper checks, lots of invoicing, and just kind of a volume of paper, right? And that still happens a lot today. We also think in terms of a lot of manual journal entries or just transaction entry in your accounting records. And if you've ever worked in QuickBooks Desktop, after you've worked in it for a while, you'll likely hear that kind of doot-doot signal, and you will likely remember that because that's the way we used to enter a lot of transactions over and over, and you would hear that sound. So a lot of manual journal entries as well as transaction entries. And also, accounting, there can be frustrations with business owners that accounting tends to be more reactive. And so that means that really we're looking at historical data, historical things that have already happened, and we're just trying to capture them. We're just putting them into the software. And finally, traditional accounting typically is confined to a physical computer. One desk, one seat, one computer. And so if you had to do your accounting, you had to go sit right in front of that computer and do your books. Now, this format, it can be difficult for many small business owners. And the reason for that is we're moving around a lot, right? Business is changing. We are not typically confined to one desk all the time. I have plenty of realtors, contractors, they unofficially work from their vehicles or client sites. So a lot of movement. And if you can only do your accounting at one computer, that means you've got to work your whole day and then come back to sit down and do the accounting tasks. So I'll contrast that with what we're seeing in more kind of modern accounting practices. And so yes, a lot of this is going to be driven pretty heavily from software and apps. So we see a lot of AI and automation. In the new accounting softwares, we can actually pull bank feeds and transactions directly into your software and even classify them for you. So a lot of automation. Also, when you get the data in and you're doing it in real time, your reports are done in real time. So you've got cash flow information, profitability information right there real time. So if you're needing to go to the bank to get a loan or something like that, you've got reports that are up to date. So that's very helpful. And then another trend we see in more kind of modern accounting is going to be this cloud access. Now that can come in terms of having like a QBO, QuickBooks Online, or Zero subscription, which is just purely web-based, or you can still have systems that are desktop-based, like QuickBooks Desktop, for example, but we cloud host it. So we have it where we can still access it and we don't necessarily have to sit right in front of that one computer. So those are some things that we see that are kind of modernizing the way we do accounting. Now, I'll say here that neither are wrong. At the end of the day, if you're getting your transactions in and they're up to date and you can answer your questions in real time, There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong in your system, and there's nothing that you need to fix. So you don't have to modernize just for the sake that things are changing and I've got to do it. If the system's not broken, you don't have to fix anything. But if you're finding that you can't maintain your accounting records, you're getting weeks or months, maybe even years behind, or the tasks take too much time, when you finally get that time to sit down in front of that computer and do all this data entry into your system, it's taking a lot of time, may not even be very accurate. You don't know exactly how much cash you've got in the bank. You don't know if you can pay bills or pay your employees or contractors. So if you find any of those, kind of pain points, then it might be time to look at the system itself. Is it still really working for your small business? So what's a small business owner to do? Well, few things that you can do are you can look at automating. So you can look at these apps and the software that you're likely already paying for. A lot of these features are already included in your accounting subscriptions. So start small. Maybe you start with banking and you look at your centralized banking and you work on those bank feeds. So maybe that's an area that you start with. Or depending on the nature of your business, maybe you want to automate invoices going out. Maybe you have routine invoices that you pay or that you send to customers that are about the same amount each month, for example. Automate that. Get it off your plate. Another one is expense management. You can do that with how you get the expenses recorded into your accounting software, and also with how they're paid, to be honest. You can set up auto pay and things like that if it makes sense for your business and for your cash flow. Now, some other areas, of course, is going to be looking at software and apps. The tools are changing all the time, and they are customizing them specific for niches. So you can look directly at your industry and find something that meets your need. So lots of apps, and a lot of these do integrate with your accounting software. So as long as they get along with each other and you can connect them, you can take it off your plate and the work is still done. And another area too, I'll push this, is going to be the cloud accounting platforms. So yes, I mentioned the accounting software. It can be either web-based like QuickBooks Online, or you can have a desktop version cloud hosted with something like Right Networks, for example, where you can still access the desktop when you need it. But some other excellent cloud-based kind of platforms that are really universal for so many small business owners is going to be like Google Drive, which is so useful, Dropbox, OneDrive within Microsoft, and of course there are many others. So all of those can really help kind of get you away from the physical desk that you have to be at to do all of the accounting work or the back office management. Now, I will mention too that if you're looking at cloud-based type services, don't skimp on security. Look at those MFA authenticators, password management, all the security. I know they can be a hassle. I know you get lots of chirps on your phones and things like that. It's hard to remember all these passwords, so come up with a system and keep it very secure. But key takeaways here, of course, modern small business owners, you're going to need the tools to keep up with your business. So don't be afraid to try out some of these tools and systems. I say start small. You don't have to reinvent everything and you don't have to change everything on day one. Start small. Maybe pick one of these and see how it works for your business and keep adding as you get more comfortable with these more modern accounting tools. And I'll say too, if you need help kind of guiding through which software I need, which apps are going to work for me, how do I use these things, they're changing all the time, and then how can I get these systems working for me, that's exactly what we do. We work with small business owners to help them come up with the systems, use that technology, let it work with you, not against you, so that you can really focus where you need to and not let all of these accounting tasks and back office tasks just build up for you. So I hope this was very helpful for you. If you need any help going through the software or coming up with a new system, we wrestle with technology all the time, so we'd love to talk with you.